All right. Good morning, everybody, or good evening, depending on where you're watching. I hope that whatever time of day it is, you're having a good day, and I'm so glad that you could join for this weekly forecast. We're going to be taking a look here at the next 7 days in front of us, all of the options, all of the challenges, and yeah, we're all waking up to the opportunities, just like little Apollo here. I'm going to put my assistant down so we can get started, and thank you so much for giving me a few seconds to get set up. Weekend readings always involve just a little bit more prep work at the beginning, so thank you so much. All right, so as you can see by what I have here on the screen, this is our overall schedule for today. We're going to begin with channeled messages, move on to a 7-day forecast after that, and that's going to take us from Sunday to Sunday. And then we'll take a look at a few smaller things like the blessings and blocks. And then the only part of today's reading that is going to be specific to signs will be the elemental forecast, which is right there in the middle. And that'll be where I break down each of the 12 signs in groups of 3 by element. And then we'll go to the big topic for today, which is, it seems like it's always a favorite. I kind of bring it through quarterly, but it's the time traveling telegram, advice from a future you. And the way that that works is just imagine if you could send yourself an email in the past and say, don't do this or do this. That's kind of the vantage point from this reading, which is what can I do to avoid pitfalls? What can I do to embrace opportunities? I can see why it's popular. It's something that I think we all wish we could do more often. So that's what we're going to do later today here. And I also intersperse a few other things like a viewer's choice. And of course, at the very end, if there's any topics that you need some assistance with, hold that. I don't answer questions in real time here because I'm doing the reading, but at the end, I give you a chance to focus on that question and I'll pull a card for you. Okay, so that's the overall setup. Let me just get my monitor set up on the side here so I can make sure that you can see me, which you can. And let's light the candles together today. I don't always do this, but today I think it'd be great to go ahead and do a quick benediction at the beginning, and then we'll get started on the reading. All right, so let me grab some fresh candles for right behind us, and we'll begin with the first candle over here. And this is going to be one that helps us connect to source energy. So just imagine a beautiful, bright sunrise or the moon shining down on you. It's kind of hard right now because it's a crescent. So I would stick to starlight or sunlight. So a bright star in the sky or the brilliant sun as it's starting to rise from the sky, and see some of those rays of light shining on you. You can imagine one on every chakra point. And let's set an intention to connect to only the highest and most beneficial information, and only information that's filtered through that light, filtered through source. That way we know we can focus and trust what we're receiving. All right, so welcoming in source energy. You can call it God, divine, or source. It's all the same thing, so let's welcome it in today. Thank you so much for being present, and thank you, source energy, also for allowing us to see what we need to see. All right, let's bring in some additional intentions here, and then we'll get started. All right, I'm going to put in some new candles because these have already seen better days, and then we'll light each and every one of these. The reason I do this, by the way, is whenever you work with intuitive energy, it's really important to set those intentions at the beginning. It allows you to relax a little bit. It allows you to connect more to source, and it's what I do when I'm reading for myself or for someone that I care about. So occasionally I like to show you behind the scenes, and this is one of those things that's important to know. All right, let's call in some protective energy here, working with Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, please protect us. Allow us to focus on the messages coming through, and again, keep away anything that is not of those higher frequencies or filtered through those intentions that we said earlier, filtered through the light of source. Archangel Gabriel, allow me as the reader to be a clear channel to see what I need to see so that everybody can get the messages they need to receive. Allow everyone out there to be discerning and to use their own free will to decide what to do with those messages, because that is basically what this is all about. Archangel Raphael, life requires healing, so please allow us to release the things that no longer serve us so that we can embrace the opportunities in front of us. Help us forgive people even when it's difficult to do so. Thank you for being present. And to all the Ascended Masters, guides, and angels that I haven't mentioned that want to come through today and filter through that source of light that we talked about at the beginning, you're welcome as well. All right, let me put these candles behind us and let's get started on today's messages. No matter how I feel, once I've kind of set the intentions, it really does make a difference at the beginning. It kind of starts the day off in the right way. So it's just a good thing to do for yourself too. You don't even need the candles. You can just do this while you're taking a shower in the morning. Candles definitely help though when you're doing the intuitive work. Okay, so again, if you just joined, perfect timing. I just went through the benediction, the candle lighting here at the beginning just to connect to source. We're going to start off with channeled messages first. Channeled messages, of course, for me are a combination of nature totems that I might actually see the day before, the day of, or in dreams themselves, and other messages that come to me while I'm researching and getting set up for this morning's reading. So you have a really cool, I always think they're cool, but this one's a unique one. I haven't used it before, totem, and it's basically the finch. Cute little bird. You can do Google search if you're not sure what it is, but it's one of those little tiny birds that hops along. And I saw many of them on my journeys yesterday, and I thought, I like this bird. And I remember that as a kid, one of my uncles used to always have some of those finches, and I like their songs. So there's house finch, which basically then became wild because a few were set free, and then, you know, now they've just basically become a wild bird in certain areas where they didn't before exist. I received a lot of energy and information about cleaning up your environment and finding some balance in your life, so we're going to talk about that as well as we delve into these messages. Let's begin with the finch. For me, even though it's this little tiny bird, to me, the size of the totem does not matter because you can look at a butterfly and it's one of the most powerful messages. So same thing with the finch here. It may be small, but its voice is clear and distinct and singular. And when you hear it, you know that that's that. So as a totem, it reminds us that we each have something valuable to add to a conversation, to life in general. And if there's anyone in your life that tries to mute your song, to mute your voice, it's your opportunity this month to show them that that's not going to work, that you're going to keep on singing your song until something happens. So there's a persistence sometimes when I think of bird totems where they'll just keep singing and singing and singing. So I think persistence, perseverance, and then also the clarity that I was talking about when I thought of this particular totem is super important, okay? And yes, I chose the Queen of Swords for a little tiny bird because so be it. The size does not matter. And you could actually kind of compare the same thing to, like, for instance, a cicada, locust. There's certain types of insects, grasshopper, they make a lot of noise and they're small. So doesn't matter how imposing the person is or the totem or the animal is. In this particular case, it's saying, speak up, rise up, make a difference. You can. Small but mighty, okay? Next message here was the ability to thrive anywhere. Again, it began as, it had its sort of own habitat here. I said it was in the desert, grassland, shrubland, and woodland environments. But then when it was brought into homes and cities, it found a way to thrive there. It also thrives in the desert, like I said, in places it shouldn't. It has this ability to just be able to find, it's kind of like sort of a thrifty and crafty little bird. It'll make a home wherever it needs to make a home. So I thought of a couple of cards here that really kind of represented the ability to make it anywhere. The Fool, because it travels lightly and again, it can kind of roll with the punches. And the Magician, because it is a jack of all trades, basically. So I think if you can embrace that something might work, just entertain a possibility. And again, rolling with the punch is just basically saying, I'm going to go with this. I'm going to see where this takes me. It may not have been expected, but it might be good. So when somebody says, hey, I'm so sorry that you scheduled all of this stuff, but we need you to start from the bottom of the list, or I'm going to rearrange your day today. Instead of hitting the panic button, just say, okay, let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do. Maybe this will be fun. Maybe it'll be better. Maybe it'll be tragic, but that's on them, not on you. And when you go into it with the thought, maybe this will work, or I'm going to make this work, more powerful with the latter, then great things start to happen. And then even if things are a little messy, if you can come in and clean them up, you become the magician. They're like, wow, you did an amazing job. I threw you into the deep end and you just like swam like a pro. So that's what you really want to try to do, is be the magician and have the carefree energy of the fool as we enter into this next 7-day period. Okay? You are what you consume. This bird is a very strict vegetarian, except one variety that eats a little bit of larva when it's young, but mostly as an adult, most of them are just fruits and vegetables and seeds, or fruits and seeds mostly. I like the seed piece because it reminds me of the Ace of Pentacles. That can symbolize an egg, a seed, an opportunity, a beginning. And this particular totem is filling itself up with potential, with possibilities. And environmentally, if we kind of abstract this symbol to look at what you're consuming in what you read, what you watch on TV, whom you speak to, all of these things start to shape up what is your sort of energetic diet. So you are what you eat, and you are what you consume, and you are what you sort of surround yourself with. You're kind of like a sponge. So this is basically saying mop up and clean up that environment and make sure what you are consuming is helping you, is bringing you into a better energetic place, okay? And I just love that it sits there and eats possibilities and brings that into its energy, basically symbolically. So think about what's possible. Entertain those possibilities. Have the energy of the Fool and the Magician mixed together and use your voice. So far, all of these are really good. And a small little symbol packs a lot of suggestions and information. I believe this is the final card here for this portion, or the final slide, I should say. The next piece that I saw was really based on a dream. And so I like to interpret dreams as well as part of, our totem here. So I was watching as there was this party that was being set up for some reason on a hill that was slanted. And everything looked great. Everyone was having a good time. But obviously, as food started to be served, as more people were sitting, the table started sliding, the food started sliding. Everything was destined to kind of be messy at the end. And of course, I would go to a balance card, and the Two of Pentacles seemed like the most imbalanced of all the balance cards, because you're usually making better choices with the Six of Pentacles, and Justice can see through these things as well. But the Two of Pentacles is usually where you get yourself into trouble. So clearly, I want to go to the third bullet here. Don't put too much on your plate at once, because the food metaphor, that's what it was, piling things on. So it helps with that, but that often leads you to like Seven of Pentacles energy where you're overextended, or Two of Pentacles, in which case you're going to end up getting in over your head, or just simply not completing a task or something that you've promised to do. In relationships, the same sort of thing is going on here, where you may feel like you're on uneven footing or uneven ground. So this is really about finding your balance in these sort of dynamics, making sure the resources are balanced. And then also, when I look at Two of Pentacles, it's a work-life balance card as well. So if something is being overemphasized or prioritized, this is really about making sure that everything else is coming into check and that you're not missing out on something. So there you go. These are very succinct. I don't feel like we have to talk about a lot. These are powerful messages for today. And that, my friends, is how we're going to begin. All right, now we're going to step into the next portion of the forecast, which is the 7-day forecast, going from Sunday to Sunday. And we're going to keep these channeled messages in mind. We're going to think a little bit about how we can best find our balance, use our voice, surround ourselves with positive possibilities to thrive in any situation. All of that stuff comes through in this moment in time. All right, let me see what I'm drawn to use for this, and we'll go from there. Okay, I think we'll do the Star Seeker for this. So let me just focus in on the desk, and let's take a look at the next 7 days. Actually, if I can find it, I might do the Fountain one, because yeah, let's do Fountain instead. Okay. So we're going to look at the next 7 days, Sunday to Sunday. one for today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and let's take a look at a couple cards for next weekend, next Saturday, and next Sunday. Okay, let's move through all of these messages, starting with the energy of today, which is symbolized by the Nine of Swords. All right, so this is one of the most unique, and I would also say most effective illustrations of the Nine of Swords, because it actually shows that a lot of times what stresses us out isn't necessarily what's in our lives. It is people in our life that are feeding us these sort of energetic cords or lines, and this is about cutting through some of that. So today, one of the things that could present itself is that you are worried about how someone might react to something that you're doing. You may be internalizing some feedback or words or comments that someone said or made about you. You could be also kind of like just letting someone get under your skin because of events that have recently gone on. There could also be pain or frustration over someone that hasn't talked to you. Silence can sort of cut the same way. There's a theme here. It's about others and outside energy, not so much about you. And not as much as it should be. So I really want you to focus more on how you feel and what you want to do about how you feel, rather than the optics of what others are doing or thinking. And then more importantly, I want you to focus on taking as good care of yourself as you can. I would say better care than you probably are. This is usually coming through when we are tired. It's often coming through when we are having difficulty navigating stress and stress management. And the main thing you could do for yourself, I should say, is to channel, like get some of this energy transitioned out of your body. So I would say doing something fun, going to a movie, reading a book, talking to a friend, dancing, listening to music, taking a walk, swimming, taking a good nap if you're tired. You know, something that really shakes up the schedule and just feels right. Don't worry about the other stuff. And if you can't let go of the worrying, then talk to someone, lean on someone, let them sort of give you some support so that you can get out of that. And there's always a suggestion with this card to clean up your bedroom, like make your bed, clean up your bedroom, get the clutter gone from that space, and make sure that it's inviting, that it feels like it's a safe haven, because sleep quality often depends on the environment as well. So stress management, clearing up the environment, doing something fun, all of these things are going to help you out today. Just basically take care of yourself. I would try to avoid unnecessary confrontation. If you do have to do something difficult, try to take the stress and make it like butterflies and imagine that they're flying away. But it's the good sort of stress that makes you think, I'm going to do my best. I have to do my best, but you're not going to worry about failing. It's just that sort of push that you need to basically be your best, okay? Let's move on to Monday, which is invariably a much better card here. We have the Four of Swords in reverse. You're busy, and I hope you got the rest that you needed today, because, again, you might be running a little bit low on your batteries this week. So the Four of Swords typically would be a card of rest and relaxation. And then we have a little tiny finch-like bird. What happens when we get our sleep is we can receive the inspiration, the intuition, the understanding that we need. You need rest because it's part of the fuel of our brain. If any of you have tried to stay up and pull an all-nighter and then function at school or work or just in day-to-day life, you know what I'm saying, because you're typically irritable without the sleep. You don't always make sense. And sometimes when you look at the work that you did when you stayed up late, it's a mess. There's typos and it's not worth it. So what I would say that you can do in order to thrive in the Four of Swords, listen to that inner voice and know when enough is enough. If you've done everything you can and the job is not done, you're done. You can't push through at a certain point because your health matters. If I could go back to a younger me, I would tell him to stop worrying so much about some of those arbitrary deadlines. So even though the 7-day forecast isn't necessarily in the vein of the time traveling telegram, we're going to pull some of the lessons here, because what I see here with the first card is don't sweat the small stuff And what I see with this one is know your limitations and speak up. Use your voice. That little finch is there saying, no, this doesn't make sense. Or we've already tried this and it didn't work. Or I've already worked through the weekend. I can't do anymore. You're going to have to ask somebody else. You can find a way to do this. Or if it's someone in your life and it's like a partnership, say, I've done more than I should be expected to do. It's your turn now. So you're going to throw the basically the baton towards someone else and say, why don't you give it a go because I'm burned out on this. So know your limits, keep your boundaries, speak up, get some rest. It's actually bubbling into Monday. So the cool thing on Monday, though, is time's going to go quickly. So you're going to look at your watch and think, where did it all go? Keep a schedule if you can on Monday, a list of things that you really prioritize and need to get done, and then be flexible with the ones that are lower on the list because you may run out of time on Monday. So teamwork will help as well. Looking at Tuesday, we have the Six of Pentacles coming through. The Six of Pentacles is a great card for finding balance, okay? So finding balance in your life is essential because, and also being discerning is essential because you really have to decide, like in this moment in time, this is what I'm gonna make the most of, this is what I can really focus on, and the other stuff isn't as important. I don't need to focus on that, okay? So I think that that's key. It's so funny, by the way. Thank you. I'm feeling great to everyone that's asking. Let's not focus on, and also I would say in life, and let's keep positive energy out there. Remember what I was talking about with the finch? So let's not only feed ourselves with positive comments, let's feed others with positive comments. So, if you see someone in your life and, you think they need support or something, be kind to them rather than saying things that are unkind. So just one more little footnote with that. It goes both ways. So if you don't have something positive or polite, just keep it to the side. All right, with the Six of Pentacles for Tuesday. So we moved from Monday where you're feeling a little bit overworked and a little stressed out. And Tuesday, you are finding your footing finally. This is my basic card that I would look at for looking at basically, are you able to have everything that you need? Maybe not everything that you want, but everything that you need to succeed. So if you have everything that you need to succeed, then all you have to do is decide what's going to be the best energetic investment for you, okay? So this particular moment in time, I think what you want to focus on is, will I make a difference here? Is this really necessary, or is this just treading water, kind of like spinning your wheels? And again, saying no is going to be important. So both on Monday especially, Tuesday as well, you're going to be asked to balance things out, but you're finding your clarity, you're finding your balance, and people are understanding now a little bit more where you stand. This is a good day to negotiate for things because you might also be able to get what you want. This card is a little hard to see. I'm going to pull the traditional one so you can see it here. What I like about this card is we see beautiful green growth in the background. So from this, you can discern that things are starting to thrive. If I look at the traditional card, what you'll see is a bunch of people reaching out their hands and saying, how about me? Can I do this? What's going on here? So you actually have a shot. I never look at it from this perspective, but what I would say right now is to focus on giving it a shot and saying, hey, let's consider this. And the person that's holding the coin has a chance of basically saying, you know what? Yeah, I think that this is good. I think that this is a great investment. So you have a shot at something. If you need something, ask, because the other person holding this, you just have to make a good case for yourself. So get I would say get all of your information aligned if you're going to pitch an idea, and validate why you think it's important. You might not get everything you want, but you'll get everything you need. So you either have it or you can get it. And I think all of that is key, and it kind of helps empower you for what's coming through. Okay. Here in the middle of the week, Wednesday, we have the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands card is a really good card for resetting your vision, setting your expectations as well. So to me, this card partners up with the Magician or the High Priestess, and it helps us with basically staying on track. It is manifestation personified, again, because you're usually holding the world or the globe or the crystal ball in your hand, and you're looking out at the future and you're comparing how these two align, okay? I also like that we see the chopsticks here on this particular card, because what it represents is, let me try this. Let's see if this works. It's about going into the unexplored or unexpected sort of territory and figuring out like what you might like, not always sticking to the tried and true. And if we never push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, how will we know what's possible? So Wednesday, give something new a try. Give it a taste. See where you sit with that. See how it feels. You may be surprised, okay? So I like that for Wednesday. It's a good day to also make a presentation, show someone a prototype, talk to someone about hopes and ambitions and even things that might be making you feel anxious or whatever, because people can see it from your perspective. Don't be afraid to try something new either. So we see a really nice bright star shining through at the middle of the week. So, there was some stress management issues maybe today. There's some resource management on Monday. By Tuesday, you might even be able to make a case to get some additional assistance, or you find your footing. By Wednesday, you're in a great space. And by Thursday, now we have the Ten of Pentacles coming in, which is fantastic. Ten of Pentacles in reverse. You could actually be in a position where too many people want your time and energy or are really drawn to you. So this, let's say you've done a job well done, everyone may want to come over and talk to you and congratulate you. There might be something big happening in your family, either something really great or something stressful, but there's a lot of family energy. So family, community, and business. I see just a lot of folks coming in and emailing, calling, texting, or wanting you to be with them or asking you to do something for them. So there's interest in you, and more specifically interest in your time and energy, because this is a resource card. So having learned all the lessons from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, you're going to know exactly how to work with that. But this is basically a shining card. You're a star shining and people want a little bit of your time and energy. So just figure out how that's going to work. Don't succumb to familial, cultural, or peer pressure with this card. Just as the Ten of Wands is typically good unless reversed, sometimes these cards can be someone pressuring you to do what is expected or what is popular. And so you're going to do what is right, what feels good to you, okay? And gosh, you actually have a really stellar mid to latter week. So we have the Three of Pentacles coming through for Friday. The Three of Pentacles is reversed, but it's still positive. This is one card that's very difficult to read negatively. The only thing that I would say with this card that can happen sometimes is the desire for external validation or recognition, or the desire to get something like, and this would constitute all of that, but basically to get an award or to get some sort of title. And this card basically is more about the quality of what you're working on and the lessons that you're incorporating from that experience, instead of the sort of end result, the sort of gold star or whatever it is, the award. So focus on doing great work. You can revise things if you need to on Friday as well. It should take less time than you expect. This is something that's very nearly done. And so what we see here is that stakeholders in business are starting to come in and they want to see the final product. In real life, it could be someone checking up on you because you've said you're going to do something. So accountability is coming through on Thursday and Friday. You're going to deliver, and you know what you need to deliver. And this is what's basically the beginning part of the week for some of you that are focusing on school or business. You're stressing out. Things are starting to shape up here. By the midweek and by Thursday, it feels like everything's where it needs to be. Letting go of something on Friday is really key. Contracts and money, both Thursday and Friday, great days for contracts and money for you. Even with the reversals, these are two of the best cards in the suit of Pentacles and just two of the best cards in minor arcana. So it's hard to go wrong with the Ten of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles. You just have to look at it from a different angle. Don't be afraid to compromise a little bit or revise something a little bit. And I think you'll be able to get yourself in a really good space. Okay? So push through the energy at the beginning. It gets so much better towards the end of the week. Like it's shining as we go towards Thursday and Friday. So I really, really like how the week ends up. And I feel like you can balance this out because, this is usually in your head, Sunday energy. Monday and Tuesday, it's all about choices. And after that, it's easy sailing. All right, let's fast forward to the next weekend, looking at next Saturday and next Sunday. Focusing on the energy of next Saturday, we see the 9 of Cups. For some of you, it's a celebration, a much deserved celebration, because I see some hard work going on. It's also a change of heart and a change of perspective for the positive. 9 of Cups is celebratory. Have a good time. You earned it based on the context of the cards that we saw for this week. So this is a great day to hang out with people. This is a great day to treat yourself. This is a great day to reset emotionally and energetically and just have a good time. Always with the 9 of Cups, we want to remind ourselves that we want to avoid overdoing things. So have a good time, but know that you have tomorrow as well to kind of spread some of the joy, and you don't want to sort of overdo it. So avoiding over drinking, overeating, anything in excess actually can be not so good. So avoid the excess and you should be okay. And remember always with 9 of Cups that try though we may, there's always going to be one little fly in the ointment in any given day or any given thing. What we're going to focus on is all the beautiful stuff, not that one little thing. So that's the main thing, is keep your perspective, stay positive. Don't let one thing take you off of your otherwise great day. And as long as you do that, I think you'll be all right. You could be feeling extra sensitive that day as well. So, again, thinking of environmental pieces of this, the more positive the environment, the more that's going to benefit you. And if there's people around you that are having difficulty, it may be a day where you can't be there to help them through everything. And we can always say not today, but how about tomorrow when it comes to helping someone through a sort of imagined crisis or just through stress. And so say, yeah, let's talk tomorrow. So put it off one day or do it the day before. Now, Sunday is an interesting day, and I'll be here to help you next Sunday, so don't worry about this. The 7 of Swords is not necessarily something that you have to be afraid of. In one word, it's saying just be honest and be accountable. So honesty, accountability. So 2 words, but both single messages. So if you are honest, then you can diffuse 7 of Swords. Because 7 of Swords is usually someone in your life or you who knows what they need to say or do, but has a hard time getting it out there, and they may not say it. It can be the white lie or the lie that we tell to ourselves in order to protect someone. But sometimes that ends up catching up with you, and then later they're like, why didn't you tell me I had parsley on my tooth, or that there was a stain on this shirt, or that I was talking too loud or something like that, because it could have saved face for them. It could have helped them correct something. But the 7 of Swords can also be a little bit deeper, which is someone that is basically just not doing what they should. They know it and they're trying to get away with it. And what you're going to do is stand up and say, no, this doesn't work with me. You said you were going to be here. You weren't. There are repercussions. So hold someone accountable to their promise. If they can't fulfill it at that point, it's time to cut the ties, because otherwise it starts to become the energy that we see here. You start stressing about, how can I manage this? What can I do? It's not your job to control someone. It's just your job to decide when enough is enough. And the 7 of Swords is basically saying enough. So honesty, accountability, and knowing when enough is enough. These are the lessons that will come into play on Sunday. They don't have to take the energy of the day and make it the main focus. One thing will come up and it will have a little bit of that 7 of Swords energy, and you're going to diffuse it by saying what you need to say, doing what you need to do, and moving to the next most important thing. Okay? Because by the way, if you just use your voice, take one of those 7 swords and say something, it's the 6 of Swords and you're moving forward. I always look at how you can make a card positive, and that's it. Take one of the swords, give it back to the person, or do something with it, take action, and then you're the boat in the water moving on. So the 7 of Swords is just asking you to release something and move on, and to get to the 6 of Swords. Go from 7 to the 6. Okay. So that, my friends, is the 7-day forecast. It looks pretty good overall. The best days clearly are going from Tuesday through Friday. The most challenging days are kind of surrounding the weekend. So again, for today, stress reduction, stress management, sleep. Monday, saying no, making sure you're getting that rest as well, and listening to the little sparrow that's saying, I need to do this, I need to do that. Speaking up before that becomes a big old crow. And then you find your footing on Tuesday. Wednesday, you're able to see things clear. Other people can see things clear. And you start to really make progress on Thursday and Friday. This is a good day to show things to groups on Thursday. On Friday, it's a good time to get signatures if you need to get signatures. Both days are great days to deliver, to be in the center stage, to just be out there doing what you need to do. You will get the validation. It may not come in the way, shape, or form that you thought it would, but it will come nonetheless. Have some fun on Saturday. You earned it. It's been a lot that you've been going through this week. And then next Sunday, be honest. Let people know what they need or need to do and maybe haven't done, and then walk away from something if continually you're not getting what you're supposed to be getting. And that's basically this. It's a litmus test, and it's a big flashing like yellow light saying, why are you doing this? Let's go the other direction. Okay? That, my friends, is the week ahead, and you can see a lot in 7 cards. It's kind of fun to do the weeklies. Okay, so I'm just going to reset the table here so we can see some more cards. If you just joined, we went through the 7-day forecast. We're going to take a look now at blessings and blocks. Just like it sounds, we're going to look at the best energy of the week and maybe some of the more challenging energy of the week. All right, so let's see which deck is calling next. All right, so for this one, why don't we take a look at the Wild Unknown. So the blessing is signified by the moon card, and we have a crescent moon right now, so that's kind of cool. And the block is signified by the 3 of Wands, such a beautiful 3 of Wands. I love this deck. It's become one of my favorites, even though, again, sometimes the Wands and Swords are a little too similarly illustrated, but I think all the other cards are in it I love here. All right, so let's begin with your blessing card for this next 7-day period. And again, so if you're just joining, we're in blessings and blocks. So the blessing right now is the moon. The moon card in reverse is about revealing, revelation, seeing something for what it truly is. Embracing your dreams, releasing your fears, talking about those things that kind of like really inspire you. In a relationship, it's about getting real. So talking to someone about something that's been on your mind for a while. Because you're being asked, so on the traditional card, you see a little lobster coming out of the water. You also usually see either a wolf or coyote and a dog. And basically what you're being asked to do is to go into the instinctual side of yourself and do what you need to do. Take the path in the center, not compete so much, not worry so much about, again, what other people think. You got to follow your own path. Here we see the 2 trees representing 2 very static and stoic ways of being. You're the finch, you're the bird that can fly through this. You don't have to sort of be so kind of stuck. So this is your chance to get unstuck, and since it's in the air instead of being on the land, I would say you can fly through this. You can get a bird's eye view of what's going on, tapping back into our totem energy, and make your way to the moon. So feel free to take your own path. Do it the way that you need to do it. Say what you need to say, and then see if the people around you support you, love you, or are open and willing to kind of like go down that path with you, okay? So the blessing is you have the faith and the courage to do it. Or you have, sometimes we just get tired, right? If you're holding on to something for a long time, there just becomes this point where it's exhausting and you just want to free or liberate yourself from that. So this is your chance to do just that. Looking at the block, it's not a block. The only block is that you may not see what's right in front of you, because the 3 of Wands is basically saying it's happening now. Happening not just faster than you think, but it's happening right now. So back into the energy of the time traveling telegram, you would want to tell yourself, don't give up, don't fear, don't despair, because one day later, 1 week later, all this stuff is starting to happen. So what we see here is an encouragement to be honest with yourself, to say what you need to say and do what you need to do, and not give up on whatever this hope, this dream, this thing is that you're really trying to bring about, because this is manifestation of that. It's the next step up from the 2 of Wands. And in a traditional deck, I'll see if I can pull it pretty quick because it's an iconic card, you would basically see that ship coming in. Good, I have them both here. So here's your traditional 2 of Wands, where you're looking at It's like you got the whole world in your hands. You're looking at something. You're anticipating where you want to be. And this is going from the macro to the world, and you can actually see it. So here you're envisioning it, and then here it's actually coming through in the globe. Now you're on the ground looking at it, and the ships are coming in. So this isn't a block. The only thing that could be happening is you don't want to be late. So make sure you're on time to appointments this week. Make sure you're looking around, and don't doubt your ability to create what you envision. These two cards are helping one another. Envisioning, accomplishing. This is a week for accomplishing. Don't give up, and don't doubt it before you see it. Just because it's not in your peripheral vision doesn't mean that it's not there. So make sure you're looking in the right place. Make sure that you haven't missed something important. Okay? Let's move on from blessings and blocks to the elemental forecast. The elements are fire, earth, air, and water. Don't worry if you don't know all the breakdowns of each and every card within that. I'm going to help you with it as we do it. Okay. So let's go ahead and shuffle, and then I will break down the messages for each science. We'll do it in this order: fire, earth, air, and water. Fire, earth, air, water. Okay, so beginning with fire, Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries. You have a good week ahead of you. We have the Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is getting the job done. Also thriving at the small stuff, like all the little detailed oriented work. Let's just take the lower third off for a second so you can see this. So we see in front of her all these books, all this information, also a little bit of magic here. You can work your magic. For those of you that happen to be a writer or mathematician, scientist, anyone that kind of does a lot of detail-oriented stuff, if you're working on a report, etc., etc., this is saying keep up what you're doing. You're learning a lot from it, and it's starting to take shape and take form. It can also be hands-on work. So this is like if the Three of Pentacles is mastery, the Eight of Pentacles is apprenticeship and understanding what you're doing. So a good time to learn something, a good time to even like do home improvements or anything that requires like rolling up your sleeves and, you know, getting your fingernails dirty and getting something done. Productivity is the word of the week for all of my fire signs out there. So Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, you're learning, you're doing, you're feeling good about it, and other people are feeling good about what you're doing too. And if you ever thought like, when can I start something big or learn something new, you can dig into something new this week as well. So you're either starting or you're thriving in the sort of like the details of it. And if you don't like the details, get some insight, get some help, because details matter. So that would be the other piece of this. Always look at that, okay? Now, moving from fire to my earth signs, this is for all the Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn viewers out there. We have the Hanged Man in reverse. So Hanged Man upright, which kind of nicely matches the earth color there. Hanged Man upright is saying, don't fear. Don't be afraid of this pause that you have. The pause is actually there to allow ostensibly a door to open on the horizon. So sometimes the universe slows us down intentionally in order to open up opportunity, in order to prepare us. The time traveling version of yourself would come in and say, hey, Earth, don't freak out. This delay isn't as big as it seems. You're going to get something bigger or better. You're going to still finish this, and you're going to find a way to make it work. So there's an intentional delay during which you may come up with a better way to do it. So by the way, if what you're doing isn't working, pause, mentally reset. Don't be afraid to take a 90-degree or 180-degree turn and regroup. You're pausing for a reason, because if you were able to, you would just rush to the finish line. This can also just be impatience because the card came through reversed. So if you are looking for something, love, a job, a house, money, whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, the one thing you want to be mindful of is impatience, because that is a surefire way to make it happen slower. So when it gets to the point where you're needing, wanting, or not trusting that it will happen too much, that's when the universe is saying, yeah, it's kind of ready here, but you're not ready. So pause. So just relax. And I would say the best thing that you can do when Hanged Man energy happens is, again, don't be afraid to reconsider, get some rest, try to sometimes refocus your energy on something else. So if you've done as much as you can in one area and you're feeling stuck, then pick this up over here and work on this. And lo and behold, you've got some gears spinning in the back of your head that are going to still be working on that other thing. And then all of a sudden, aha, you get an epiphany. So don't be afraid to change focus just a little bit, and that Hanged Man will speed up and something beautiful will happen, okay? You still get enlightenment with the Hanged Man. You will get your aha moment because that's really what this card is about, but it doesn't often reveal itself until later. So time traveling you came through right now and said, you're on track. Just don't be afraid to focus on this a little bit or just look beyond the obvious. There's something else that the universe wants you to see, and it can only happen if you slow down and rest for a moment, okay? So that's my message for all the earth signs. Let's move on to air as I take a drink here. Air, of course, being Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. There's a lot going on with ideation this week for you. We have the Ace of Wands card. This is one of the most beautiful illustrations of the Ace of Wands because we see it all here. So don't second guess something that's coming to you, whether it's in dreams, meditation, or just out of the blue. And sometimes that's how it happens for me. I can be walking the dog, I can be driving the car, I could be reading a book, talking to someone, and something comes through. I usually scribble it down and then figure out how I'm going to deal with it because that's your intuition. So you're getting a subtle form of intuition, subtle delivery of it. Now it's up to you to decide how you want to take that and manifest it in the real world. Everything starts, again, going back into our totem energy earlier. A little idea can have big ramifications or big potential. So you've got to fan the flame of this inspiration as well. I've never kind of like started a fire like with the flint and all that stuff, but same sort of thing there where you have to work on it, blow on that spark and not too much, just enough. So I feel like for all my air signs this week, you'll be focusing on getting something started, the ignition, the beginning. Sometimes like a lawnmower, I don't even know if anyone, I'm in a city now, I don't have to do this, but as a kid, I grew up in a more rural setting. So I just sit there a few times and crank the lawnmower until the engine would sputter on. So this is what I'm getting mentally in my head, and I haven't thought of that for several decades. But the ability to kind of like get something started, it doesn't always happen on the first try. So keep fanning the flames and keep on pulling that ignition until everything fires, okay? So if at first you don't succeed, continue to push and think of different ways you can attempt it. Because again, we're talking about magician and fool energy. The magician isn't stuck with just one thing. He or she can pull at all the elements in all directions. And the fool's like, yeah, let's try that. So be open, be persistent, and try a few times, all right? Let's move from my air signs to water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. We've got a great card for you, the Sun. And it's kind of funny. With this particular card, what I'm getting in spirit is it's okay to kind of make this moment about you. It's okay to also say to someone else, this isn't about you. This is about me. Because in reverse, this card is self-focused. You could say selfish, but selfish in the best way. Because sometimes you need to focus on your health, finishing something that you need to finish. And if someone tries to come in and distract you or steal your thunder, there might be a moment of recognition and someone tries to make it about them because they're jealous. This is a time where you just stand up and say, hold on a second. I worked really hard. This is my moment. And then we can work with you. A lot of times children, we have to teach them that lesson that everybody gets their moment to shine. And guess what, water? This is a week where you get a chance to shine. There could be a little bit of a tug of war though. We see this card connected to her. I would have probably connected it to her solar plexus a little bit more. But that's what I would say is there could be a little bit of a power struggle between you and someone that you love, a parent, a sibling, a friend. And it's just about reminding them that everybody can shine. And if you are a little bit jealous or if you are feeling like, when is it my moment? One thing that I've learned in many years here of just kind of looking at life is that If someone else is shining and doing well around you and they like you and you're connected to them, it's because you have the same star connection, the same soul connection, the same sun energy, binary stars, if you will. So they may be shining brighter now, but you'll have a moment to shine too. Everybody gets to shine. We don't have to worry about outshining. They see something in you maybe that you don't. So look deeper and find your shine this week, water. Find what it is that makes you feel good. And that's when your light sort of intensifies. There was, I think it's on Netflix now, but there's a movie called Stardust. And it's adapted from a Neil Gaiman novel. And one of the lead characters is a star. And she shines brighter when she's around someone that she loves. But we kind of all shine brighter when we are doing something that we love, feeling good about what it is in life that is kind of like around us in that moment in time. So it can be love, it can be an activity, it can just be focusing on the positive so you kind of light up. So find what makes you shine and put your energy into that shine this week, okay? So pretty good overall cards as I'm looking at all the elements. Fire, focus on the details. Learning, expanding, all of that is coming through for you. Earth, it's about being patient with yourself and being patient with others, thinking of things from a different perspective. Air, don't give up. You are so close to getting something that you want, something that you need. And water, do what you love. Be who you are. Be authentic. That authenticity shines through and is a very attractive force in your life. So there you go. Those are the elements, and I hope you enjoyed that part of it. We're going to do a quick, let me look here real quick. Sometimes I swap this around, but blessings and blocks. Yeah, we're going to do the viewers and readers choice. I like to sometimes do it after the Celtic, but it's okay. We're going to focus on the 7-day, and we'll let the Celtic just be messages from the future. All right, so looking at reader's choice and viewer's choice. Let's see if there's a couple of things we can talk about here that you can vote on, and then we'll go from there. So some things that I want to hopefully help you with is when we were looking at, and I'll take my picture off so you can see all of this on the table. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. These were the days where it was a little bit tricky when it comes to saying no, maybe, and resource management. So saying no / resource management. I think that's an important thing that we could look at. I think the other thing is letting go, because you may be challenged with letting something go, birthing, delivering. We're talking more in the symbolic sense with those. Accountability and honesty. Let's see if there's one more that wants to come through here. Oh, seeing the possibilities, Okay, so I'll let you pick one of those. They're all good. And I want to focus on, let's see, I'm going to try and find a common thread between the elements. So I think one thing that I'm seeing here is, especially like with the Sun card and with the Ace of Wands, let's see, I might have actually already put that seeing potential. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave this one as a single card from the universe. I'm going to just ask for a wild card. I'll say, is there something we missed this week that we need to focus on? Let's do that. I don't always do a wild card because I put all the good questions out for you guys to vote on. So I'm going to look at a wild card and say, what else do we need to focus on? So funny that I mentioned how to kind of get to the Six of Swords, and now we got the Six of Swords coming through here. So the message this week is ultimately you're very, very close to experiencing something new. If you can take a break and actually change up your environment, it could be very beneficial for you. You could start to really experience some positive shifts in your life. So don't be afraid to take a trip, to talk to someone that you haven't talked to in a long time, especially if they're in a different time zone. Reaching out, moving on, moving in general is the whole purpose here. You're supposed to get to the next phase of the journey. So when we were looking at that delivery energy that was coming through specifically around Friday, this is so that next week and next month, because next week is next month, you can start to really just sort of like embrace new things, okay? Okay, so let's take a look. Oh wow, it's a clear leader here. We've got the Seeing the Possibilities. So for the Seeing the Possibilities card, just as a reminder, we'll be trying to help you understand what the Three of Wands wanted to bring through. And sometimes it's like right under our nose, it's obvious and we don't know why we're missing it. So this card is going to help us understand, like, what is it? How can I make sure that I'm not missing it? Okay, so let's take a look. I'll zoom out a little bit. There we go. Got a lot of cards on the table. The Wheel of Fortune. I like it. Okay, so the Wheel of Fortune is in reverse though. This is a really cool illustration of it. So the wheel keeps turning. It's kind of like that old Journey song, the wheel in the sky keeps turning. Well, this time the wheel is in the water. It's half in the water, half in the sky. We've got the sun in the background. So some of you may be feeling like this. I just got through this really successful period and now there's some struggle, there's some work, but the wheel keeps turning and eventually you're going to be ending up on this end where you can see the other side of the equation. So it's saying everything has a season. Sometimes you got to push through the winter portion of it to get to spring, and don't lose hope. Don't lose light of why you're doing what you're doing. And if you focus solely on the energy of just what's in front of you, just what's obvious, then you're missing the ability for this to kind of go into the next season. So this is saying give it 3 weeks, but also give it like a quarter of a month, or actually that's more than a quarter. Yeah, that's a quarter would be a week. So in a month, it's going to be a week. So give it this week. And in a year, it's going to be 3 months. We're thinking of quarters here because the Wheel of Fortune is showing like 4 seasons or 4 quarters to a whole. So give it a quarter of a month, a quarter of a year, and see where you are then. Be patient. This is especially true for those of you that got the Hanged Man. Be patient with where this is taking you because it's going to pay off. And the Wheel of Fortune in reverse is also saying, don't be afraid to change. You can also do an about face, realizing that about face, that change is going to take, again, that quarter energy that I was talking about. So if you decide to change your major, if you decide to change your job, if you decide to change your mind about anything, the immediate return on that change may not be evident immediately. You've got to give it some time, be patient, and be willing to sort of see it start to come through. So the wheel, like of a ship that you have to crank, I use this metaphor a lot. You don't see it immediately. In a car, you can. Smaller vehicles, you see the change happen quicker. But if you're seeing a change on the planet, this is why things like climate change are not so obvious, because they're happening slowly. But once they've actually happened to the point that, you know, it's going to be hard to turn it back, we're going to have to crank the wheel in the opposite and wait for it as well. So this card in general is saying you're on the right path, or you're about to change in that right direction, but it takes time to manifest. What you can do to sort of speed this up is to say a couple of mantras, which is, I trust in my ability to create the thing that I'm trying to create. I also trust that the universe could deliver it quicker and in a better form than I imagined. And if I'm frustrated about it not matching this particular point in the timeline, what if it happens differently, but also better? So be open to different and better, and different and possibly quicker. And if it's already delayed, just to be shown the best path possible. Because maybe what you were trying to manifest, it was sort of like trying to put a square peg in a round hole, or vice versa. It just wasn't the right fit. So be open to look for a different fit, and then things will start to spin a little faster for you, okay? We are now ready, folks, to get into the main part of the reading. We're going to go into the special topic today, which again, today's special topic is the Time Traveling Telegram, Advice from a Future You. I have to say it slow because it's also a tongue twister. While I'm clearing up the table, throw out some requests if you have any cards or decks that you would like me to use, and I will take a look at that point in time and figure out if I want to incorporate some of them. I liked all the cards that I was using thus far. If there's an old one that I haven't thrown in, you can put it up for suggestion. I'm going to take a drink of my tea here, get a couple straws ready here that I didn't have a chance to do earlier. Prisma Visions, let's see. Prisma Visions I tend not to like, honestly, for the readings because it takes a little harder to read. I think it's better for blessings and blocks. So let's see if there's any other. Luna, Wildwood. Wildwood's great. Aphrodite for sure. We haven't used that. Let me see here. Okay, so let me get to the side here and we'll grab some of these and turn the camera down and put a few out for consideration. So sure, I always like Wildwood as an option. Actually, usually these two in general I've been using them a lot, but let's just consider. Let's see. We could do the light seer, sure. Let's see. I already used this one significantly for today. Let's see. Maybe this. Modern Witch is a good choice. I haven't used that in a while. Let's see. Maybe these would provide a good option. Let's see. I'm just looking at it one more time and thinking if there's anything that we don't need. Maybe. Yeah, I think this is good. This is a good option. You could take this one and swap it out since I'm having fun with potential here. So I like to try to have some differently matched options. I think these are good. So we're going to go with this so that we can get started. Okay. All right, everyone. Let's try this. We've got Light Seekers. We have Raven's Prophecy. We have Light Seers and Modern Witch, which I haven't used in a while. All right, I am now putting the poll out for all of you to consider. While we're doing that, while you're voting, let's make good use of the time and talk about a couple things. I will be reading for Pisces tomorrow on Monday. I will be doing a bonus reading on Thursday, and then we're going to kick off the following month. I guess that'll be for August on Friday. Hey, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button so you can join in on the chat so that you don't miss a future reading. If you've already subscribed, thank you for doing that. If you don't want to miss anything, make sure you also opt into all notifications by clicking on the bell. And it's absolutely free to do all of this, and including the thumbs up, the like. It will also help YouTube discover this. Follow me on social media if you don't mind. I can be found on all platforms as my name. Please be extra careful that you're following me. Instagram is the most annoying of all the platforms because almost every week there's a fake account. So when in doubt, go to my website or click on the pinned comment that I have here, and you can see all of my social media platforms. It's Nicholas Ashbaugh, no changes, no underscores, no missing letters, no extra letters, no any of that. And of course, to just make sure that you know who I am, remember, I do not offer private readings and I don't use direct messages. And typically all of the imposters do that. And they offer something special or whatever in a direct message. It's not me, okay? My schedule can be found on my website if you ever need to see it. And if you want to show support, you can do it with SuperStickers and SuperChat. And now that I've spoken long enough, let's see if you have chosen a lead here. So we have a clear lead. It looks like the Raven's Prophecy, which is right here. I'm super happy that this finally found a home on the channel because, like I said, I've had it for over a year, but didn't get it in time for last Halloween. But now I've kind of been incorporating it into all the readings. Okay, folks, let's get started. And again, this is going to be from the perspective of a time-traveling version of yourself, imagining that we could blink out of the future into this present time and say, hey, do this, don't do this. Modern Witch was a very close one on that one, so tell you what, I'll keep it on the side, and maybe I'll use it for any of the expanded stuff at the end. In this case, it would just be the big idea and maybe the final card, but I'll use it for a couple. It's all about birds today, isn't it? All right, let's see what's coming through. It's a really beautiful High Priestess. I haven't seen that before. So I see an FAQ here for people asking about why there's a 1 minute wait. It's because I don't always have a moderator present. And so I have to moderate. And so that's why I was saying, like, keep it just a couple of quick notes that help, because I do keep an eye on the rolling comments. So try to keep them on topic. And that's why, like, keep things positive, keep them on topic. And yes, basically that's so that there's not too fast of a chat. It slows it down so that you make the most of your comment. And that if there's someone that's not respecting the comments, I can pause them or take them out of the ability to comment. That's all. So you'll see it on channels that have like a lot of, especially if there was some channel that had like 20,000 live or something, usually there's slow mode. You see it more on Twitch than on YouTube, but it's a new feature and it's a helpful one for people that are talking. So there we go. Let's talk about the messages at hand. So again, we're currently looking at special topic, time traveling version of yourself, coming back and giving you advice. The first card that we're going to look at is the Catalyst, and it says Spirit Guardian of Spring activation. So, and it almost reminds me of what we would sometimes see on the Four of Wands here. The card being reversed is basically saying, I'm open to a new opportunity. To activate something new, you have to at least be open to it. And then, of course, you have to invest a little bit into that as well. So, with that being said, expecting immediate gratification, expecting everything to be laid out on the table, this could be one of the things that could hold you back from seeing what we were talking about with the Three of Wands. This is actually even answering the question that you guys had just asked a few moments ago. So in order to see or to be able to manifest something, you have to believe that it's possible, and you have to sort of like just go into that energy of investing and working with it and waking up, because that's basically what spring represents. Is after a period of sleep, rest, or slumber, there is this sort of slow and steady waking up like you are in the morning, basically. Like I am when I'm walking the dog at 4 a.m. and he's in the background sleeping saying, Dad, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm still resting. So just like it takes a little time to get used to a new day, it may take a little time for something to start to spark into manifestation. So you have springtime energy coming through, even though we're all in different seasons right now. Focus on that and remember, all right, it takes a while for that bulb to push through the ground. It takes a while for that seed to find its way to the light. That doesn't mean it's not growing beneath the surface. Your center card is really cute, actually. We've got the Two of Cups here. I was just talking with a friend yesterday about the twos in tarot, and about how all of the twos require a little bit of balancing. The Two of Cups, you're balancing out, how do I mesh with this person's energy? Two of Pentacles, which we saw in the cards in the channel messages, it's sort of a channel messages portion. Two of Pentacles can be like, what do I want to focus on the most? Two of Swords, I'm torn between two forks in the road. What do I do? And what did I miss? Cups, Swords, Wands. Two of Wands is basically making sure that you don't lose light of what you're trying to do. And sometimes you're drawn in two different directions as well there. So with this, how do you feel about this new, for some of you, there could be a partnership coming through. So how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that person? Is this welcomed? Is this, is it unrequited, or is it love that you are welcoming in, or a partnership that you're welcoming in? The Two of Cups is a magnetic card as well. So whether I get Two of Cups, Lovers, Ace of Cups, it usually means that people, it's like a moth to a flame. They want to come closer. So for you, I think part of it could just be being open to exploring, experiencing, and trying new things, opening up to new types of partnerships or new relationships. Because at the center, that's what we see. Someone or something is engaged with your energy. Are you also paying attention to that? It looks good. I like the Two of Cups, and I think this is a really cute Two of Cups, a nice cuddly Two of Cups. All right? So the only thing that's kind of interesting on this one is like, you get that energy of where does one person end and the other person begin. So boundaries could also be an important message in this moment in time as well, okay? So the future you is coming through and saying, this is a good thing, this is a good moment. Don't be afraid to say yes or to try it. Also remember who you are. Don't get lost, because love, partnership, and opportunities can sometimes be all-consuming, and you kind of get that blending of the two birds where you have a hard time seeing whose feathers belong to who, right? Now we have the Knight of Pentacles on top of this. They did a cool reinterpretation of this one, which is saying if you want it, you've got to give it your all. You've got to put in some elbow grease. So we have a shovel here, and it's basically saying, how much are you willing to work for this? The two cards that are touching here are, it's the relationship. So it takes two to tango. The partnership is two-way street. How much are you investing? How much are they investing? Also, it's saying don't dig yourself into a hole. Make sure that you're not overreaching. You're not under-delivering. You're kind of like finding the balance. It really is connected to what we talked about earlier today. So both parties have a shovel. Both parties should be investing. Both parties should be constructing this relationship. And remember what I was talking about in my dream metaphor where everything was on the side, slanted. The truth of it is that you guys are on an even kilter there, but you could imagine that one person's better or worse, or they could be doing that, and that's causing a little bit of a like a seesaw action there. So let's try to get everyone on solid ground and equal investment of time and energy. As long as that equity is there, things will be good. We have the King of Cups in the deep past. This is a fantastic card for you. It's saying, listen, you have worked really hard to be sensitive. You've worked really hard to understand what makes you tick internally, emotionally. And it could also be sort of saying, I'm ready. I'm very much ready to receive the love that's about to come into my life, or the love that is here. I'm going to embrace it a little bit more, because this is the King of Hearts, basically. King of Cups is King of Hearts. And he's very open, he's very aware, he's very sensitive. She is very, you can use either, like I try to avoid pronouns with this. They are very sensitive, they're very open. So with the King of Cups here, basically it's saying, are you ready to receive? Because the universe is ready to deliver. And if the other person isn't, or if they're not giving you what you're giving, then someone else can or will do that. But you have to make sure that you've spoken up. Say, listen, this is what I'm interested in. Are you interested in this? So state your intent, make sure that there's equal investment of time and energy, because you've set yourself up to receive. And a relationship isn't just work. Part of it is work, but it shouldn't be all work. So this is, you are deserving. This is what you're deserving of, love and happiness and equity. And now we have the Five of Wands, and we'll talk about this in a second, but the Five of Wands in the crowning position can sometimes go into the fear or the sort of frustration with how much time and effort it takes. So if you're the one doing all the work, you can't fuel the entire flame of the relationship. So we see like a candle that's flipped over on this particular card. There comes a point, and we also see smaller candles and one really big candle here. So what happens at the end of the day, it's like a candle burned at both ends. You just can't keep up with it. So there has to be cooperation, not competition. There has to be appreciation. And as long as there's all of that, then things are going to move in the right direction. So surprisingly, especially for me, because I don't look at relationships, we have a very relationship-centric center of the spread, which is saying something in a key relationship of yours. It could be love, it could be work, it could be friendship, but that key relationship requires a little bit more balance. You want to see a little bit more investment. You want to see a little bit more validation that your heart isn't going to just be trampled on, right? So focus on getting that validation, finding that equal footing, and then the rest of the energy of this future you is going to be set in the right direction. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen when I'm looking at this spread right now. We've got King of Cups, Knight of Pentacles, and then the King of Swords. So that's a lot of people. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Let's begin with King of Swords. This is not different from what I was talking about with the little voice, right? King of Swords reverse is basically saying, get to the point, say what you need to say. And for those of you that happen to join a little bit later, because I know some of you might have just awakened or just gotten home, I'll pull up this slide just for reference. But the very first thing that we talked about today was Queen of Swords. So same sort of energy here. It's about deciding that I'm going to speak up, share my point of view, and it doesn't matter what my title is, it doesn't matter about my age. None of that really matters. It's just sort of like I have a perspective, my voice counts. And like the little finch, which also came through on the Four of Swords, and this may be what you need to speak up about, is that you are tired, you are stretched too thin, that things are going too quickly, especially in a relationship. Can we slow it down a little bit? Some of you got the Hanged Man. So whatever your desire or need or goal or intention is, now is the time to state it without a lot of, sort of backpedaling or worrying. Just get it out there and let the universe react to it. And then let the person have some time to sit with that and see what they return. If it's nothing, then you know that they're not receptive or that there might be a better way to say it. But eventually, if there's nothing, then that's saying, okay, I need to shift my energy in a different direction. So opening up communication and stating an intent, a dream, desire, or maybe even some sort of constructive criticism. Something needs to come out. And this is the time to do it. And don't work so hard. Work smarter, not necessarily working yourself too hard, okay? The future you is also coming through to say, you are worth it. You are worth all that we see here. The King of Cups and the Two of Cups. The Five of Pentacles happens when something in the past makes us doubt self-worth. This is a beautiful illustration, but let me just pull the traditional card for reference on this particular one. So in the Five of Pentacles, what happens a lot of times is the person that we want or trust or need the most isn't listening, isn't showing up, and either through a direct act of rejection or criticism or just indifference makes us feel like, I guess I don't deserve it, I guess I don't matter. Realize that there are things going on with that person too, and they may just be not capable of doing what you need them to do. I talked in a previous video about, something that my mom didn't do right in the past, and I basically talked to her later, and she said, I didn't have the capacity to deal with what you needed at that point in time. And that worked for me because she later did have the capacity and she was there when I needed her later. And so that just showed growth. In fact, just saying like, I didn't have what I needed to support you. That was a big thing to admit. I said, it's okay. It's a different time now. So let's give people a chance to show their potential and show up differently. But also, if they continue to not show up the way you need, then you can move in another direction. The card that I just put down also has a church or a sanctuary behind it. So there's always a door that's open somewhere else that you can go. You don't have to keep trying to engage with someone that won't. So from the past, there could be a rejection or a lost opportunity, a missed opportunity. So what you're going to do now in this future version of yourself, in this timeline, the future you is coming in to help this future you as well, to not doubt yourself, because you could say no to something because you are afraid that you're not experienced enough. You could undersell your abilities and end up earning less or getting less of a title because someone doesn't see what you could do. I had a contract negotiation. It's been a long time. It was my second big corporate job. And between the two, I had taken some time to do some different things. So I worked at a big corporate job, and then I took 1 year where I decided to work a little bit for, like some nonprofits. Then I went to a firm where they basically, it was a consulting firm, did a bunch of different things. So my salary went from a bigger one to a smaller one, but the small period of time represented only like 1/5 of my work experience. And when I was negotiating for the next job, they were trying to keep me at or below the last job. And I said, no. This is the one that was before it. And all of this gave me a lot more perspective in different industries. And in fact, some of the last job is really going to benefit this one. So I was able to get almost everything back from that first line of pay when I negotiated for the third or fourth job down the line, because I sat at the table and said, that's not good enough. I'm worth more than that. And at some point they came back and said, well, we're going to have to change your title. I said, okay. And they said, okay. But then they also said, well, what's your best and final? I said, nothing below this. I got exactly what I asked for, and I got a better title. And that was because I didn't let them impose the 5 of Pentacles on me. I was like, no, I'm worth the 6 or the 7. And I ended up getting the 8. So you never know what you can get until you put it out there, but I could back it up. I legitimately said, no, the reason I had a lower salary here was it was a nonprofit. Of course it's going to pay less. I did more work for less because that's what you do sometimes at a nonprofit. That doesn't make me less valuable. That means that I was willing to do something that mattered to me, and I learned another aspect of production. So you just have to validate it and get them checked a little bit. I understood that there was trade-offs, and I accepted a small dip. I learned from that to never let that other thing happen, like, because the job after the nonprofit, they lowballed me basically, and then I had to kind of keep working myself up. So just know that if it matters, if you're trying to kind of like validate salary or like that, don't worry and push. You can recover. You can get more back. If you're trying to buy a house and someone's too high, you can also tell them where you're at, what's good, why you're a good match. Remember, it can work in both directions. So don't let someone take advantage of you, and don't let someone try to like lowball you with an offer that doesn't meet your needs. The 5 of Pentacles shows that financially, something isn't sound, or energetically something isn't sound. And it's usually based on someone that's trying to find a way in one of those cracks of lack of confidence. Well, this happened before, so this is going to happen again. No, it's not. So you just stand strong on that, okay? And hopefully that will help you. All right. So what are the questions going on right now? No, this didn't just start, but this is a perfect time. You joined whenever you needed to join, and you can watch the beginning later, or you can even take that little thing and go back to the beginning. So this will be available for replay if you just joined. This part is for everyone, and what we're looking at is messages from the future, ways to avoid messing up, basically. And one of the things here that can help you do your best is to not accept less than the best, to negotiate for a little bit more, to try to get the best possible energetic exchange in the form of time, energy, or money that you can. All right. Welcome to the newest member. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Roxy. And at the very end, I'll say welcome to all the new members and anyone who gave back. Membership's a great way to just every month show it and kind of like set it and forget it. So I appreciate my members. All right. Don't underestimate your ability to manifest, and realize that you have to believe it to see it. If you are the kind of person where you're like, when I see it, I'll believe it, then you're basically saying to the universe, everything that can be is already here. It's ridiculous to say that, right? Because how would we invent new things that weren't yet here? So the dishwasher, the microwave, the cellular phone, all of these things were, someone was like, I'm tired of washing dishes. I wish I could carry the phone from the home to the car with me, or from the car when we had car phones around with me. So someone was like, why can't I do this? Actually, you can. I see it in my head as a possibility. Let's get the technology together and make it work. So if you can believe it, if you can imagine it, then you can manifest it. And if you believe you're not worthy, if you believe it's impossible, you're more likely than not going to miss something that could be done, because you're focusing only on what's in front of you. So always keep an open mind. Scientists do this as well. They'll call things theories until they get the facts and everything, but they also ask questions. You can't just look at what's here. You have to ask why it's here and what else might be here. And is the lens through which I'm viewing the universe, which is so nicely illustrated here, is my lens, are my glasses flawed? Can I see past something? Because we keep thinking we know everything, but we don't. New things come into existence, a particle that we didn't know about, a wormhole that we didn't know about, something that didn't, there's constantly these new things that pop up. So just like glasses can make it clear, just keep focusing on what's possible and see if you can't manifest that. And when you feel like something's stuck, figure out how you can create something new instead of just validating the obvious, which is this isn't working, but how about this? And is it possible, or am I just continuing to say it's not working? Okay. And yeah, this is interesting because it's showing up in your ego spot and where you're at. So you have more power. You are the high priestess. You are manifesting your own truth and your own reality. All right, looking at what's coming through in the environment, we have the Page of Pentacles here, and it's reversed, which means it's a receiving energy. You are going to get what you're asking for. This was near future. This is environment. One thing you want to look for is, are you a big fish in a little pond? Do you need more room to sort of like spread out? Whenever I look at a plant metaphor and we see a brand new plant here, a brand new pot with something just barely starting to push through. So here we see a lot of potential. So some of you might be dipping into a new opportunity or a new experience. Again, it's in the environment where it feels like, gosh, there's all this. Am I going to be able to do it? If you just got there, of course, it's going to feel a little overwhelming and you might question that, but more likely than not, you can do this. You will be able to do this. You just have to give yourself a shot to grow into it, to sort of flex your muscles, okay? So it takes time. It takes time to experience whatever it is that you need to experience in this new environment, this new opportunity. All right, we have the Hierophant coming through in Hope, Spheres, and Opportunity. The card is reversed. It really doesn't matter because it almost looks the same, upright or reversed. So Hierophant carries the lantern. Let me just pull that card so we can look at it. And the inner work that the Hierophant does on themselves, him or herself, basically allows them to find hidden strength, hidden insight, and hidden power. And so you are at a point now where you're being asked to kind of step into the light that you've discovered within. And sometimes that's hard. So here's your traditional card, and we see the star, nicely displayed in this one, shining through in that lantern. So there's always a hidden star in this card, like the star card in tarot. Sometimes we're afraid to let other people see, this is who I am, this is what I believe in, this is how this is going to be. So one aspect of this is don't hold back. Shine brightly. And I think that came through for my water signs, right? So this is really about stepping into that star-like energy that you have. For some of you, you may be feeling like I'm ready, like I'm tired of this old paradigm. It could be, again, maybe it's a hierarchical setting. So like you could be working in a school or a governmental organization, or there's a really kind of like conservative energy around you and you just want to break out. You want to be seen, but it's safer sometimes not to be seen because when you're not seen, there's not as much attention, criticism, or accountability. This card is basically saying you can handle it. If you want to be bolder, be bolder. If you wonder, can I do it? Yes, you can do it. You've got what it takes, okay? You are that lantern, you are the star. And it's now just about owning the light and showing the way, leading the way, and sharing your insights. Hermit is one of the wisest cards. This would be like in Lord of the Rings, this would be Gandalf, right? Coming through and saying, and what did Gandalf do? He was always the voice of reason, like run, you fools, and or don't do this, or you don't want to put on that ring again. He was always the voice of reason, the consciousness. He basically symbolized an angel in that book, by the way, because he was part of the Maiar, and that was basically like archangels. So if you didn't know that, it's a cool little side fact, because I'm a geek and I've read this series a few times. Anyway, so you have this sort of angelic energy and this higher sensibility. It's coming through like Gandalf, and he's going to hit you on the head with his staff and with this torch and say, do what you know you need to do. And I've never really looked at the Hermit that way, but this deck gave me a different vision of it. Okay. Oh, it's a Hierophant. Sorry. Sorry. Hierophant. Isn't it weird that the lantern's there? I have my glasses on too, and I was looking at that. So thank you for the correction on that one. So the Hierophant, just to kind of like, it's actually not too far of a stretch because the Hierophant's called the High Priest, and is an old man too. Here's the difference though with the Hierophant versus the Hermit. The Hermit's actually a lot more powerful than the Hierophant. The Hermit has been through more, has discovered more, and is further along on the journey. We have the number 9 on the Hermit, whereas the Hierophant's number 5. So Hierophant comes right after Emperor and Empress, and right before that was the Magician and the High Priestess. So in a lot of decks, he's called the High Priest. He has power and insight. The problem with the Hierophant is the need or the desire to exist within a structure sometimes. And now we'll look at the traditional Hierophant card. The traditional Hierophant card is going to show 2 disciples sitting there and waiting for the gatekeeper to basically tell them what to do. And so I do take issue with whoever did this. I would not have put the lantern on a card for the Hierophant. I would have put a key, which is what the Wild Unknown does, because there are 2 keys you'll see here in a second. But you have the insight and you have the ability to maybe jump beyond the gatekeeper and just do it yourself. So maybe we'll mesh the 2 of these messages together and help you out with that. But let me just pull this card up real quick. So basically the message here is you are your own best gatekeeper. You've always had the capacity and the ability to open the doors yourself. And this is your moment to do that. So let me just find the card here while we're talking. And okay, here we go. Here's your Hierophant. So at the very bottom of the Hierophant, you'll see 2 keys, 2 disciples, and we see someone here representing organized religion or organized structures. So a lot of times this comes through for business, for government, and for, again, religion. And it's something where it's like, do it because I told you to do it. Do it because this is what's expected. Do it because, even though this is the Hierophant and not the Hermit, the Hermit's lantern's coming in. So whoever created this deck, this was not a good illustration, sorry. So the Hermit's lantern's coming into saying, you know better, you can light the way, you can do this. So both energies are there. I'll remember that for the future. But I would have chosen the key, which you will see in this one. And this is a better illustration of it. And this is going to help you out. And then we're going to move on to the next message here. You hold the key. You make the difference. Your voice matters. And that kind of goes back to everything that we talked about earlier. Here we go. This is the totem. This is the talisman that they should have chosen. I can get why there's a key on this one. I don't get why there's a lantern on this one. It doesn't make sense. So the key does connect with the Hierophant, and the lantern connects with the Hermit. So I do enjoy Rider-Waite-Smith derivatives, but sometimes they get the symbology wrong, and that's wrong on that one. Sorry. It is what it is. But what's interesting on this one, looking at that, is the moths being drawn to the flame. So there is a sort of general message here about avoiding temptation and maybe going down a path or avoiding peer pressure and going down a path that you should. Okay. For the people asking if I'd like to create my own deck, absolutely. But I'm waiting to write my second book. I would want a traditional publisher. This is so hard doing self-releases that I would never want to do my own release. I've seen some other readers do it, and it's kind of a nightmare. So maybe down the road where there's a good publisher that comes to me, we work together, we find a good illustrator, and this is not anything that I would rush. It's something I'm open to, but it has to be the best possible alignment of stars, because I want to take my time. I'd want a lot of support. I'd want it to be amazing cardstock, kind of like we see with the Afro Goddess deck. I know she did it herself, but the deck is really expensive for a reason. So you have to pay about $75 for this, and it's worth every penny. But I'd want my deck to be maybe a little bit more mainstream and available than that one, although I love it and I recommend it, and she did a great job. So it's just a lot of work for anybody that creates their own stuff. So been there, done that, and looking for a different channel in the future. So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe I'll have enough that I can do this on my own. But like for now, there's a lot of costs. You'd have to pay the illustrator or negotiate something. It's just, no, not yet. And I've got to find the right connections. And again, I have another book to write. And then after that book is out, then yes, I would do it. Because I have a lot of insights on what I'd like to do for the cards. And a lot of the characters and energies from my book would then become a part of that. So yes, to answer your question, but not right now. All right, so let's focus on the final card in this layout, the outcome, which is the future you, the 10 of Cups. Look at all those little baby crows or crows. Beautiful, raven. Okay, so what we're looking at this, again, we had the 10 of Pentacles earlier reversed. Now we have the 10 of Cups in reverse. So with the 10 of Cups in reverse, some of you may be needing to peel away or pull away from a familial energy. And it's hard sometimes. This is like the baby bird leaving the nest and finding your own way and being your own person. Knowing that eventually, if and when your friends and family are ready to embrace this new thing that you want to try, you'll be fine, and they'll actually probably look up to this sort of strength that you had. But sometimes at the beginning, if you're the first one in your family to go to school, if you're the first one not to get married or to start a family or to start a business, you're always seen at the beginning as doing something outlandish or crazy. This future you is saying, but it's you. Be you. Be yourself. Be honest to that. Also, you get to be discerning. You get to be picky because the 10 of Cups is a lot of options. So for those of you looking for love, we see a few different energies coming through. You're symbolized by the King of Cups. I'm also seeing King of Swords and Knight of Pentacles here. So there's more than one option in front of you. I think the important thing here, I really see this as an investment card. So the energy coming through is King of Swords. We'll look at this more in a second, but we want to make sure that both of you are on that same even footing and you feel like it's a strong connection before jumping into something. Take your time. All right, but 10 of Cups is good. It's an attractive card. It shows me that if you're looking for love, looking for partnership, looking for opportunity, you have choices. You have to believe in yourself, which is what the 5 of Pentacles was about. And you have to give yourself time, but it will happen. All right, let's go ahead now and expand this forecast. And we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And I'm going to take a drink of tea while we're doing that. All right, so each one of these is multi-part, and we're going to take a look at all the different facets and see how the future you wants to help you get on path with health, wealth, love, and destiny. Okay, we'll begin with your health card. Standard disclaimer applies when I'm looking at health. I'm here to look at metaphysics. If there's anything physical or emotional going on, work with the appropriate professional for that. But I'm going to help you make smart choices energetically that can hopefully help open up the best opportunities with health. So we have the Divine Director card coming through. It says, intervention and purpose. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you're being guided. Happiness is your purpose. What a beautiful message, especially with 2 of Cups and King of Cups. In the center and in the deep past. So yes, I would say happiness is your purpose. Happiness is your divine right. What does that mean? Okay, something uncomfortable could be happening. You could be made redundant at your job or laid off. You could be forced to move like I am. You could be put in a situation where a move is necessary and a friendship may sort of dissolve or a new one may form. Whatever's happening, especially the uncomfortable pieces, there is a message here that there's a better good, there's a better opportunity, that this is a natural sort of falling away of energy so that it can be replenished by something different. And that's a very reassuring thought, particularly when you are going through a difficult time. When you're thinking, why is it so hard? Why am I not getting what I need? Why am I working and putting all the effort into all of this? Why does it feel overwhelming right now? It's because things are starting to open up, and the space that we see in this card, the space that we see in a lot of these cards in general, is indicating that as well. Okay? Intervention and purpose. Let's go into the purpose part of this. What is it that you're trying to do? I shouldn't say ever. We very rarely slow down enough to ask ourselves, why am I here? Do I like it here? Do I want to do something different? Like just that gut check. How do I feel about this? We get into this sort of rhythm. It's kind of like the thing from the 9 to 5 theme song that Dolly Parton wrote, where you're just kind of stumbling into the kitchen, pouring some coffee, trying to get the ambition to do the day, right? She said she was just sitting on set watching people, watching the sort of day-to-day stuff and figuring it out. And the sound of it was like the typewriter, which was kind of cool. But sometimes we get into that motion and the momentum and we feel like, when is it going to be my turn? And that's actually what part of that song, which is why it's in my head. What if you decide that this is your week? This is your month. This is the time to make a difference. And you're not going to just keep pouring the coffee and going through the routine. You're going to find something else besides the coffee to give you your boost. There should be something you're excited about, someone that you're excited about, something within that you're excited about externally, so that we're not trying to, rely on external stimuli, whether it's the caffeine or just a relationship. There's also something within you. So I think it was my air signs that got the Ace of Wands, fanning the flame. This is really what this moment in time is about. Find something that you love and do that now. We're looking at health, but this is all about sort of like your perspective on things and how that can shift and change things. Okay? So a healthy perspective equals a healthy body. Let's look really quickly at the cards themselves and see if there's some additional messages around being your healthiest and happiest. Again, with the standard disclaimer that I'm not a doctor, but I'm looking at energy. Confidence, self-confidence, healing wounds from the past, particularly parental and child wounds, like if there's any sort of hurt feelings or things of that nature. Also feeling like you're not being appreciated, all of that comes through with the Five of Pentacles. So definitely some emotional stuff that needs to be healed. Let's see here. You may need to change your schedule up. So now that I'm looking at this as the Hierophant is a stringent schedule, and the reversed Hierophant is about changing that up a little bit. High Priestess is also about a combination of different approaches, looking at something from a new perspective and thinking, maybe I can get through this faster, whether it's recovery or whether it's a difficult situation. High Priestess can create or heal or open up things that traditional sort of knowledge would say isn't possible. So dream the big dream the impossible, work on your emotional healing, and speak up if something isn't working in your life, in your body. Talk to someone about that. Most of the cards are pretty manageable, I have to say. So I'm happy to see that. And there's nothing major popping out of this other than your ability to possibly heal or open up a door that you didn't expect, if you can be positive about where this might lead. Okay, let's move on to your wealth card. The wealth card is you're cherished by the angels, protected by the angels. Okay, so the change that is happening is change that is divinely decreed. We have divine intervention, divine director here. There is a change that has to happen. Be the agent of change. So going to traditional cards here again, going to Archangel Gabriel, which appears on the Judgment card. I actually love, first of all, Judgment's a lot closer to the world, and it's a lot more powerful than Justice. Justice, you have the power to decide, but there's often indecision that's a part of it. By the time Judgment comes through, you're like, I've accepted this, I know this, and I'm ready to try something different. So I really feel like the energy of Judgment is coming through as well, because I was looking at the sort of angelic energy here, and it just brought me straight to this card. So choose to be an agent of change, an agent of truth, and like this, rise up from whatever past experience that you went through and make it better. This wasn't an end. It's a revolving door. You can keep going back in, or you can go out and try the next thing. So this revolving door is asking you to step all the way through and go into the outside world. So there's something new, something better waiting for you. You have to speak up. And if you just got through a difficult thing, that's not the end. So this card reminds you this isn't the end. The next card is the expansion card. It's just an opening to the beginning, and then we go right back into the Fool after that. So I feel like you're just on the precipice of opening up a really new and exciting chapter in your life. So be a participant in it, focus on what is available to you, and focus on creating something that hasn't been done before. Your sort of unique approach towards something is going to be where your power is, okay? We already talked about the power of negotiation, so negotiate. Working smarter, not harder. That doesn't mean that you're not going to work hard, but it means that you don't want to burn yourself out. There's ways to delegate, ways to ask for help, ways to push back and say no. That your voice matters in ways that you may not even understand just yet. But if you can speak up, you not only can get what you're looking for, you might be able to get more than you're looking for, as we saw with the Page of Pentacles in reverse. You might need a different environment. The Hierophant's not the most enjoyable place to work. Oftentimes when we work for these types of companies, it's my way or the highway, and that's not you. You could go off on your own if you wanted to as well with the Ten of Cups here. So you definitely have this ability to break through expectations and do your own thing. Okay, so this is more about your own power and your own path, and not to be afraid to kind of go down that direction. See if there's anything else that we need to see here. Some of you are just possibly needing to connect with the creative side of yourself. It's sort of buried in the past here, and everything else is pulling you in a different direction. So if you want to do something more creative, the cards are kind of nudging you in that direction. Change is good. Change is necessary. Change is here both in the health and the wealth cards. So be the agent of change like we saw with the judgment card. All right, now we're going on to relationships. And in relationships, we have the veiled card here, or the fog. So some of you are just finally starting to see yourself or someone else for who they truly are. So this is a revelation card. The card that I was just showing you is really good for revealing and coming through something. But also, for some of you, this could be like Devil Reverse, which is the limit that I thought that I had, it doesn't exist. I can do what I can achieve this. I can date this person. I am worthy of this opportunity. So you're starting to see beyond, and remembering here that if you believe it, you can see it. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not possible or that you shouldn't believe it. It means that it's hidden. So there's a hidden opportunity in love. There could also be someone in your life that hasn't shown all their true colors. The way that you can do this is just like the sun here, to shine through your own light and say, this is who I am, this is what I want, and I see you. Is this truly what you want? Put the light of truth on that person and see how they react, okay? Let's look at this from 3 different angles: those in a relationship, those looking for love, those already, or those that are single and happy. All right, so if you're in a relationship, we've got the King of Swords and the King of Cups. This is you, possibly, and this is the person that's coming into your life, or the energy that you're dealing with. What I'm seeing with this is sensitivity, and then like this highly articulated, sometimes critical energy. So when we have someone that talks a lot or says something and it hurts the other person, this is going to be the challenge, is communicating with kindness, making sure that your voice is heard, making sure your partner's voice is heard if you're the one that kind of speaks up, and reminding one another that you have each other's back. I love that we end on the Ten of Cups and we have the Two of Cups here. So basically we see love coming through, but this is what needs to be healed. Either confidence because of something from the past, or hurt feelings because of something that you did or your partner did, and so you have to heal this moment. And that comes through by saying, I'm invested in this relationship. This hurts me, but I love you, and I can't imagine like a life without you. So are you ready to work on it? That's how I would pull those cards together. You might have to be the bigger person or try something different. It's going to take a lot of investment from the two of you, the Page of Coins, Knight of Coins. But if you both have the same vision, you can do it. Okay. If you're in a partnership and things are good, money might need to be discussed right now. There could be some issues going on behind the surface a little bit about fear of like just monetary security, especially when we're looking at retirement, which is something that the Hierophant can also be. It's a slightly older figure. So yes, Emperor, Hierophant, and even the Hermit, they're all kind of older energies. So maybe just making sure that you're looking at the long-term financial future for you and your family. So that's what I'm seeing for partnerships right now. But you need to change the routine up. That's one thing. This could be being stuck in the same old, and not necessarily acknowledging or supporting or spending as much time with that person as you need to. So work on communication, work on healing some sort of hurt feelings, and work on changing up the routine. And I think all of that will suit you well. If you are single and looking, well, it's a good time to be single and looking, because we've got Two of Cups and Ten of Cups, so you can accomplish what you're seeking. What I'm seeing for future energies, we would navigate towards the Page and the Knight. And the interesting thing here is these are very compatible because we see someone here that's kind of putting the energy in, and then we see someone here that's growing. There is a little bit of still, I'd almost rather get 2 knights or 2 pages, but I get one putting a lot more in and one receiving it a lot more. So there's a chance here that, again, speaking up and asking what you want, making sure that there's balance. That's a piece of this. Also, we get someone who doesn't look their age or act their age. So you could have someone that's really young but really conservative. That's actually how I would connect the page and the Hierophant. Hierophant is like religious or conservative or traditional, and the page is youth. So we could have someone here that may also be a product of their environment, and you may have a little bit more outspoken view or a different view on things. So that could be a challenge as well. The number one thing that you want to be focusing on if you're single and looking is self-confidence. You are worth whatever comes your way. Imagine that you can see your full potential, so you call in the highest partner. One thing that I like to remind people when we're looking at these forecasts is it's always, and not in a selfish way, but in a sort of like energetic way, it's always about you. You attract the person in your life that you're trying to not necessarily become, but they're teaching you things about yourself. So if you have low self-confidence, someone will come in and test that. If you work on your self-confidence, you'll have someone else who's done the work, and then you can work on a different lesson. Eventually, if you really are pretty well-rounded, you just have a partner, not a teacher, and that's the whole goal. So to get more to partner energy and less in teaching energy, fix financial situations, fix emotional wounds, and focus on self-confidence. Otherwise, there's going to be teacher energy and there's going to be an imbalance. All right, and if you're single and happy, it's a good time to be single and happy. You still have a very magnetic card here, so networking is going to be key. I think things are going to be growing in the right direction and going in the right direction with your money. I think that it's a really good time for you to put out whatever it is that you want to do, like a new idea, pitch a project. This is a very good developmental time. And by the way, this is disrupting energy. Hierophant, traditional structure. Hierophant reversed, something that is not traditional but has a lot of value and a lot of popularity. So you could do something that hasn't been done before and it's popular because it's unusual. Okay? So it's a good time financially. You'll be working hard. Make sure you're getting rewarded for that hard work. And now let's move on to your destiny card, and then we're almost through to the final portion of the reading. The destiny card here is the Direction Guardian. Choose your own path. And we have one of the higher angels here. I forget what this is called here. There's a name for it. It's actually in the sequel to A Wrinkle in Time. But anyway, what's cool about this particular angel, we're looking at all the different directions, and it reminds me a lot of the Wheel of Fortune sometimes, because you see all the different like the different seasons or the different elements, the world card as well, if we look at it. So with this Direction Guardian, I think it's important for you to imagine, to get back into the big picture. So when I coach someone, we see, again, a little bit of that here. You'll see all the different energies, all the different sort of guardians, and then it's also on the world card. So I'm going to pull these two together. You're your most effective when you know what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it. So if I were to ask you, what's the point? What's the point of you working at this job? For some of you, it's so that you can have a family and have money and provide for them, and that's a good answer. For some of you, it's just because you just want money. Okay, it's actually this card where you see all of it. So it's definitely connected to the world card. So everything that we see here, we see here. Okay? But we also see the seasonal energy here. So these two cards, you will see things in the four corners that are not in the other cards. But it's definitely this card. There's definitely a connection between these two. So the world is your oyster. What are you trying to do? And if you don't know, if you can't articulate it, it's very hard for the world to show up for you. So pick a direction and realize you can kind of do anything that you want to do. Okay? So sometimes I've asked people, like, what is it you're trying to do? And they're like, I don't know. So you do, but you're just sort of, you're resistant. You want me to tell you what to do, and I'm not going to do that. So go deeper and think, what is it that I derive joy from it? What is it that makes me passionate? What is it that upsets me? because passion comes through in different ways. So if there's something going on in the world, let's go to the planet, since most of us love the planet, and you're upset about pollution or sustainability or an endangered species or something like that. That's a passion. You want to protect it. You're upset, you're triggered, so you do something to protect it. There could be a change in policy where you live or work, and someone's trying to do something that is going to negatively impact you. So then you decide to do a grassroots effort and change policy. So sometimes our purpose can come from pain or agitation, and we decide to change it for ourselves and for others. So you can find your purpose that way. What upsets you? It's not always what makes you happy. It can also be what makes you unhappy. What are you going to do to change it? You've got a purpose. Now that you've got a purpose, the universe can start to open up ways for you to work on that. Purpose doesn't have to always be based in like, this makes me happy. This makes me unhappy and I want to be happy and I want to change this. It's something that drives or fuels you, and different people are fueled by different things. So what's your passion? What's your purpose? What's the tension in your life? Focus on that, and some doors are going to open up for you, okay? There's something. Everybody is, when you get up, there's something that you're thinking about or something that's driving you happy, driving you crazy, driving you in some direction. So what you're going to do is take the wheel of fortune, and you're also going to walk through this card, okay? All right. So, but this is also an angel. There's also an angel that has all these different faces. I just can't think of the name of the angel. I'm surprised Kyle didn't put it on this card, but there's a name for that particular angel. All right, so one of you will pop it up here. But let's go ahead now and take a look at the big idea and focus on what is the one opportunity for you to basically really do something amazing here with this next week and this next month, the future you. Okay. We've got the Queen of Cups. We have partnership energy here. So for many of you, this is an acknowledgement that you actually can accomplish what you want. You don't have to do it alone. I think this is the big message here. You're not alone and you don't have to do it alone, okay? So we have the King of Cups, we have the Queen of Cups. She's coming through in a different deck, but she's saying, I see you, I can help you. When you work your passion, when you work your purpose, you also pull in this partnership. So for those of you looking for love, it's all about you deciding, like, this is what I love, and then someone else comes in and they're like, that's what I love about you, is that you're connected to that, or I like what you have to say, etc. Okay? So there you go, that's nice. I'll be using this deck again for the final card here in just a couple moments. While I'm doing that, a reminder, if you've enjoyed any part of this and you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. If you'd like reminders of what I do when I do it, etc., follow me on social media. Remember, I don't give private readings and I never use direct messages. If you see someone doing that, report them for me, please. It helps out. And if you'd like to show support, you can do that right here. Let's get ready for the meditation. For today's meditation, as I look at all of these different cards, I really like the energy of spring, right? Yeah, I think it's cherubim. That's probably right. It's 4 different faces in 4 directions. But yes, it's kind of an unusual. When you look at some of the different angels, there's like thrones and there's wheels and thrones and cherubim, and they're outlandish. So if you ever want to sort of see the weirdest angels, they're the ones closest to God. They're otherworldly. And I knew that this is one of those. But what I liked about it here is it's definitely connected to the world card when we looked at it. All right, so kind of in that vein, let's imagine, you know what, I take this back. What I want to focus on is you shining through the fog. I lived for a short time in two rainy and foggy cities. I spent a little bit of time in San Francisco. I spent a little bit of time in Seattle. San Francisco, the fog is a daily occurrence usually. You'll see it rolling in, you'll see it burning off. And Seattle, you will sometimes see like these dramatic sun breaks after a really rainy period of time. And it's only for 10 minutes and then it comes back in. But let's imagine that this is going to be the opening to a new day, a clear day. The fog is burning off and you're in this moment of mystique or mystery or the unknown. So this is the setting for today's meditation. I may try the new singing bowl today again. We'll see if that makes sense and if it works. I didn't have any issues with it last week, so we'll try it again on these 7-day forecasts. All right, so close your eyes. See yourself in a city that's kind of like San Francisco, or if it's foggy where you're at and you can imagine that, that's fine. Just imagine that it's a new day. The air is cool. You can feel the moisture rolling in around you. And in the distance, there's this pinpoint of light. And it starts to get slightly bigger, slightly bigger. You can actually start to see some shapes move around it until, as you close your eyes and take a deep breath, there's a break. And this single ray of light radiantly wraps around your body, and you can feel light, warmth, heat. And you start to see the moisture droplets parting ways from this ray of light. And it's so dramatic, in fact, that you see this path open up in front of you, heading towards the rising sun. With each step that you take, another ray reaches out, revealing more and more of the environment around you, so that you go from this feeling of maybe uncertainty, fear, anxiety, to a feeling of ease, calm, warmth, protection, and most importantly, purpose. You're being drawn towards something. For those of you where it's been eluding you, you're closer than ever now. Close your eyes and focus and think, what is it that I'm being shown? What is it that I'm being drawn towards? And now allow the sun to fully break through the fog, and in your mind's eye, open up and see what's around you. How do you feel? What do you look like? Where are you? Focus on this new environment, this new vision that's coming through, because while we're connected to the future you, why not let the future you show you something that you need to see? And think about any questions that you might have while you're seeing it and hold on to them, and we'll have a chance in just a moment to take a look at that. Okay? So just relax, and I'm going to try using my new singing bowl again, and we'll go from there. Take a deep breath. And if you didn't see anything, just feel the sense that you are worth whatever opportunity is on the horizon, that you can manage or handle any challenge that comes your way. like the rising sun, you have the power and the potential to make anything happen, okay? Gently open your eyes. Think about whatever final question you might have for me. We'll get ready to look at that now. I'm glad you enjoyed the new instrument. Give me time. It always takes me a little bit of time as I'm getting started with a new instrument to figure out how far it should be, et cetera, et cetera. So I had to figure that out with the crystal pyramid as well. So a lot of times I have to listen to the replay myself. Remember that I can't really do that while I'm doing a live reading. And I don't want to hear my voice in my head while I'm doing this. So anyway, I saw your feedback. Okay. I can't use that on all the weekly ones. I think I probably will just save it for the weekend ones as a special thing. Okay. So let's focus now on your final card. And yeah, anytime I'm playing the singing instruments, if you have earphones in or your volume up, you probably want to mute it a little bit because I can't pull the mic too far back here. All right, so final card, final question. Focus on what it is that you really want to get some clarity on, and we'll get an answer to that. Okay, we have the Chariot card here, which is a fantastic card to come through. This is basically showing your potential to do what you need to do, but there's a little bit of onus or ownership on your part. How far are you willing to go for what it is that you want to do? How much accountability, how much control are you willing to sort of take to get this to the finish line? So yes, you can do it, but you have to really put in 100% here and be willing to possibly sort of like lead the charge. With the Chariot card, there's always a sort of suggestion here to try to rally up forces, to do your best to lead, but you can't control. And that's sort of like the challenging thing when it comes to leadership in general, is how to inspire, how to inform, how to encourage, but ultimately you have to expect the best and prepare people for how to do things, but you can't do it for them. So the one message that would come through with this is do all that you can do and let other people show up. Expect them to show up, tell them what they need to do to show up, and that's kind of the best that you can do with this, okay? But ultimately, Chariot card is a really good card for getting organized, managing, and bringing something closer to completion. And it's reminding you that you have the power in a compelling way, okay? So good energy, really good, and it was upright. So take it on. I also like that this is a motorcycle, which is saying, for those of you that are in a traffic-heavy city, you know that people on motorcycles can kind of swerve through traffic. And sometimes I never wanted to ride a motorcycle, but I am envious sometimes when I'm like, oh, they're going to get there a good like half hour earlier because they don't have to kind of navigate that. There are sometimes more risks associated with it, but there may be a quicker way. There may be something effective to kind of get you there a little bit faster, but you're going to have to balance risk and timing. Because if you do it slower, it's more predictable. If you take some risks, you can get there faster, but you have to be willing to sort of like deal with those risks in your life as well. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today. Let's get into the final part here, which is just gratitude. So thank you to everybody that's been a long-time supporter or viewer. I appreciate it. And if you are brand new, I hope you enjoyed today, and I hope to see you here more. And if you had a chance to give back today, I'm going to basically say thank you. So give me just a second here to welcome in the new members and thank anybody that gave back with a super sticker or super chat. So for the new members, I know we had at least one or two join today. Let me just get everything set up here and I'll welcome you in. All right, so new members today. I'd like to say welcome to Roxy. Thank you, brand new, I see that. Angel Doyle, welcome as well, brand new. Marilyn Vinoid, I think looks like. I'll just say Marilyn V, welcome. Farin Aziz, welcome back. Actually, no, just welcome. It was just a day ago. And I think that might be everything. Conscious Candace rejoined. And that was it. That's everyone from the past 2 days. So it's good to see all of you. let's go and take a look at anyone that was able to give a super sticker or super chat. The new singing bowl, some of the new decks that I use, all of this stuff goes back into that. So thank you for contributing. It helps this channel grow. Starting off with, thank you for the generous $50. I appreciate that. Yap, thank you. Sonette LaRue, Heidi Joe Brown, thank you. We have Renita Prince, Mari, thank you. Tahoe, Kay Ross, Michelle DePoy, Angela Aki, I think it is, or Ake, Beth Engel, Rosie Karina, AMW, Liz Morrison, Katie Shore, Beverly Kendall, Lisa Rivas, Jess Flowers, Starshine Leo 811, Michelle DePoy again, thank you. Boom, Elisa A, Christina Ambries, Allison Spites, Mermaid Crystal, Bryn Hilder, Thor's daughter, thank you. Ann H, Vesta Alvesta, Vesta Alvesta, it's a lot of kind of like repetitive words there, sorry about that. Misha Crane, Jeannie Hart, and Leslie Horan. Thank you everybody for showing up today, for making this possible, and for just having a good time with me. I hope you enjoyed. All right. So again, I'll be reading for Pisces tomorrow on Monday, same time, 6 a.m. Pacific. I'll be back on Thursday with a bonus reading. I think it's just a little bit past the new moon, but maybe we'll put a little bit of that new moon, new month energy in, which I often do when it falls close to that. And anything else that I'm drawn to do. They're usually shorter when I do just a typical bonus. So it'll be a little bit shorter and a little bit more fun and fluid. So I hope you can join me on Thursday, and then we'll kick off the new month on Friday with the Aries reading. All right, everybody, lots of love and light to you. Take care of yourselves and have a great week ahead, great rest of your weekend if it's still early where you're at. And I appreciate all of you. All right, take care and thanks again. Bye-bye.